This message is produced by truthfromgod.com, which is one of hundreds of messages that can be read, heard, and watched at truthfromgod.com. All souls die. This short statement will raise the immediate ire of over 1/3 of the world's population, and it goes by the name of Christian. According to church canon, souls are to be saved so that they can go to heaven and escape the fiery furnace of an eternal hell. Whether Christianites or not, nearly everyone in all white Western nations is familiar with this concept, which Christianism claims is taught in the Bible. But nothing could be further from the truth, for there is not one verse that backs up their bogus doctrine. It is only in denominational dogma that soul is given the twisted connotation of being sacred. This is simple to prove. Just tell someone that they are soulish and watch their reaction. It's time to mention that the proper name of God, Yahweh, of Jesus, Yahweh Shua, and of God's family, Elohim, will be used. To learn about these, go to the message, Three Holy Names. Church cocks get frustrated trying to explain the difference between soul and spirit. The harder they try, the more jumbled it all gets. This message's title would be more palatable to Christianism if it said, all soulishness dies. But this would not go to the heart of the matter. There will be only a few who want to know what the Bible says about the soul. So for them, this is given. The first time that the English word soul appears in the scriptures is in Genesis 2:7. And the Lord Yahweh God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. This word soul is translated from the Hebrew word nephesh, which is used prior to Genesis 2:7 in Genesis 1:21 and 1:24. In both cases, it is rendered the same way, but then differently in 2:7. There was nothing that necessitated the translation of nephesh in such an inconsistent manner except churchism's corrupted credo. The simple, straightforward statements of the Bible have been craftily concealed through such duplicity in translation. The Hebrew word nephesh is used over 750 times in the ancient text from which the Old Testament is translated. It was not only rendered soul in Genesis 2:7 and creature in Genesis 1:21 and 24, but also in other places, person, mind, body, will, desire, and man, just to mention a few. There is only one way that this word could be translated, which would work in every verse, and that word is person. But this would cause Christianism even more problems than Genesis 1:26 already does. Every time a verse is read which contains the word soul, replace it with person. And not only will there be no more confusion between soul and spirit, but also a clear understanding will be gained of what the verse is actually saying. And the Lord Yahweh God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul, person, Genesis 2:7. and the uncircumcised man-child whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul, person, shall be cut off from his people. He hath broken my covenant. Genesis 17:14. Deliver my soul, person, from the sword, my darling from the power of the dog. Psalms 22:20. O Lord Yahweh, thou hast brought up my soul, person, from the grave. Thou hast kept me alive, that I should not go down to the pit. Psalms 33. He made a way to his anger. He spared not their soul, person, from death, but gave their life over to the pestilence. Psalm 78:50. What man is he that liveth, and shall not see death? Shall he deliver his soul, person, from the hand of the grave? Psalms 89:48. Slothfulness casteth into a deep sleep, and an idle soul, person, shall suffer hunger. Proverbs 19:15. The full soul, person, loatheth an honeycomb, but to the hungry soul, person, every bitter thing is sweet. Proverbs 27:7. Your new moons and your appointed feast, my soul, person, hateth. They are a trouble unto me. I am weary to bear them. Isaiah 1:14. Behold my servant, whom I uphold, mine elect, in whom my soul, person, delighteth. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. Isaiah 42:1. Shall I not visit for these things, saith the Lord Yahweh? And shall not my soul, person, be avenged on such a nation as this? Jeremiah 5:9, 29, and 9:9. Behold, all souls, persons, are mine, as the soul, person, of the Father, so also the soul, person, of the Son is mine. The soul, person, that sinneth, it shall die. Ezekiel 18:4. The soul, person, that sinneth, it shall die. Ezekiel 18:20. The preceding scriptures raise many points contrary to Christianism, but just take the last verse. The soul, person, that sinneth, it shall die. Ezekiel 18:20. What is sin? What does the Bible say? 1 John 3:4 says, sin is the transgression of the law. Are there any souls that have not sinned? Again, what does the Bible say? For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin, and so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. Romans 3:23 and 5:12. If we say that we have not sinned, we make him a liar, and his word is not in us. 1 John 1:10. Contrary to all Christendom, the soul pertains to earth, will die, and is not going to heaven or hell forever and ever. As Jesus told Nicodemus in the 3rd chapter of John, it is a matter of the spirit, and flesh and blood soulness have nothing to do with it. That which is born of the flesh is flesh, That which is born of the Spirit is spirit. John 3:6. In John 3:13, Jesus says that nothing goes up to heaven that did not come down from heaven, whose dwelling did not originate in heaven. It is not the soul that comes down from heaven. Its original dwelling was not in heaven, and it is not going back up to heaven where it had never been. Paul points to this 3rd chapter of John in 1 Corinthians 15:50. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God, neither doth corruption inherit incorruption. Everything originating in 3D earth dies, and the soul is no exception. Something very unique does happen when physical death occurs. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto God who gave it. Ecclesiastes 12:7. This is only proper since the Adam of Genesis 2:7 was formed from the dust of the ground. His uniqueness was not becoming a living soul, person in earth, but was that he was the Son of God, Luke 3:38. And since the definite article denotes singularity, he was the first Son of God who entered earth. It was in Genesis 2:7 that a dichotomy began when Yahweh formed an Elohim into a flesh and blood living soul person, and thus began the great struggle between flesh, soul, and the divine spirit. Romans chapter 7 addresses this. The Bible never says that the soul is to be made alive or that it is eternal. Seeing a blind alley for what it is brings a change in direction along with a new focus. Jesus said, "It is the Spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life." John 6:63. The red herring of soul saving, seen for the dead thing it is, because of the operation of the eternal living Spirit indwelling a certain group in earth. These are the ones who Yahweh God took out of himself in heaven before the foundation of the world, gave them a name, and wrote that name in the book of life. Revelation 13:8 and 17:8. These are the ones who Jesus refers to in John 17:6 when he says to the Father, "Thine they were," when? In the heavens before ever entering earth. They were with God. These are the ones who Jesus goes on to say, "The world hath hated them because they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world." John 17:14. These are the ones who Yahweh foreknew, predestinated, called, justified, glorified, and elected. Romans 8:29 through 30 and 9:8 through 18. These are the ones who will be conformed to the very image of his Son, their big brother, Jesus, Yahweh, the Christ anointed Messiah. Every living person in earth is a flesh and blood body soul which will die. But some of these bodies contain the eternal spirit of Yahweh, which he took out of himself, his children Elohim, that he sends into earth, and it is this spirit in them that communicates with their Father's Spirit. It is this communion which causes such a vibration within them that even though this message may sound strange, they know it is true. They will soon realize that Yahweh God their Father is in control of all things, and that everything is working according to his preordained plan. If this is happening to you, then give thanks to your Father for delivering you from the flesh-fueled soul fetish by vibrating that eternal spirit within you. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God, and if children, then heirs, heirs of God. Romans 8:16 through 17. Now is the time. Rejoice, for this is the day of your birth. Be born again, and with it begins the journey from the gross darkness of death into his marvelous light of life. This message is produced by TruthFromGod.com, which is one of hundreds of messages that can be read, heard, and watched at TruthFromGod.com.